The first video, when I was doing the decorative bottle, I mentioned that I didn't know how sand would feel on plastic. Well, this is an old soda bottle that I took and cut, and this is the top of that soda bottle. For the top, to accomplish this look, I did the paper mache. Now, paper mache can also be done this way. You cut your papers into strip, you dip it in your glue, and then you apply it to the surface. Go all the way around, like 6 or 7 layers. You apply it to close the opening of the bottle, and you go around the neck of the bottle 6 times as well. Okay, and then once that's dry, you can apply your sand. Or another kind of paper mache is when you take the paper, you shred it, you put it in a bowl, you add warm water and glue, and you mash it up with your hands like this, and it looks like this. You see that? I don't know if you can see that real good, but that's how it look. Almost like instead of ground beef, it's ground paper. This is how it look. In this case, I did not use this method for paper mache. I used this method just on the top of the bottle. Basically, what I'm doing is just dipping my paper in the glue and just press it along the inside here. That's all I'm doing. I like the plastic in a way. So again, you can go ahead and add sand to a plastic bottle. At the end, again, I always say when you're working with sand, you want to seal it. Make sure the sand stay on the item itself. So here we go. And noticing the sand that's on there already, I'm not brushing it on when I'm putting the glue. I'm just dabbing it on. If you decide to use the polyurethane, that's the same thing you want to do. You don't want to brush it. You want to, just dab it like this. You see? And you can tell where you have applied the glue. Again, this is glue. Glue and water. It makes your glue go a long way when you do it this way. You see? Because if you brush it, you'll be really frustrated. The sand will come right off. Yeah, it'll come right off. So that's why in between coats, it'll depend how many coats you're adding. The more coats you're adding, you're going to have to give it some time in between to dry just a little. Because if not, the sand will start to sag. You start seeing it's running down your product, because wet sand is more heavier than dry sand until it goes away. Now the polyurethane, when you're adding it to the surface of the sand, you want to dab that on just like you do the glue, because it's thick. It will cause the sand to run. You take it and you dab it, and you continue dabbing all along the surface until the whole thing looks dark. That's how you know you've covered everything. And you let it sit somewhere. Don't move it at all, because any movement, the sand start to, slide off the surface, and you don't want that. You definitely don't want that. Okay. So again, for this one also, I'll have pictures of the finished product. And there goes the inside. Okay, let me move this out the way. Here goes the inside. I could have put sand and filled it in and make it flat, but I think I like it that way. So what I'm going to go ahead and do also for the top here, oh, I forgot a strip. For the top here, I am going to add newspaper on the inside of the top as well. And let me give you an idea of what the top looks like. It's still wet, so I don't want to keep moving it, but here we go. See the paper mache on the inside? Yeah. And you can see the shiny parts is the plastic. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add the newspaper to the inside of this. And the project today was the continuation of this soda bottle that I cut in half. This is the bottom portion. Remember, it had an envelope that I reversed, put on a cut and used the reverse side of the envelope, junk mail again, to do the inside of the soda bottle. And as you can see on the edges here, what that basically is tissue, regular tissue paper like this. Okay, here's the top part of the soda bottle. Okay, here's the neck, here's the top part, and here's the inside. I did it almost the same with the same envelope, and I added sand so it can be heavy, so when I sit it down you have some weight to it. Now I notice because the top it's much thicker because you have several layers of sand and paper mache underneath, the top seems to be thicker, and the bottom lip, the edges were very thin. So what I did is took my tissue paper and rolled it up, twisted, if you could say, twisted as tight as I possibly can, okay, and took it, and I always have glue in this little can, dip it in my glue, just lay it, sit there and take it right back out, and then twist as much glue as I possibly can out, excess glue, and then I went around the edge and put glue around the edge of the bottle, okay, like just little beads, and continue until the whole edge of the bottle had glue on it. And then after that I would place my wet tissue that already had glue in it on the edge, okay, like that, like so. That's basically what this white paper is around the edge, and you see it's only around the edge. Again, try to wring out as much glue as you possibly can from the tissue itself, so when you place the tissue down on the edge it's not falling apart, okay, it's damped to the touch. Now if you look, when I place the top on there, it actually could sit. It could actually sit now. Before, the bottom was too thin and the top was too thick. Okay, so this is basically how I'm making my edge. And you would keep adding layers and layers of sand. Okay, until you get to the look of it being just an edge. Making sure it's not protruding out too much either. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is just pushing the sand against the edge of my pottery here. Now this is for that I can get good coverage on my tissue paper that was submerging glue earlier. And you could go in with your fingers and just see you got big pieces latching on. You just, take that off, pat it down, let this dry a little bit, and then continue on adding the sand. So I have to go back. I've noticed also with this project, because I paper mache, the paper mache takes longer. It's underneath the surface. It takes longer to dry. I originally said anywhere from 48 to 72 hours, scratch that out. You may have to give it 5 to 6 days. I mean, if you put it outside to dry, perfect. But as you can see, here we go. Now let's try the top back on. I mean, you can still play with it, make it nice and even. I mean, I could add more sand, whereas you don't see the difference from the actual base and the edge. It'll be one clean surface. So let me go ahead and add that. Much better. Much better. See? Press down. Much better. Keep adding that sand until you have one color. Right now I can still see there's a difference in shade. But I'll be right back. Right now what I'm doing is going around the neck here. I added 2 strips already. I'm going to make this a little bit wider. Here we go. Like so. And that will be all I'm going to do to this particular piece, and keep working around this here. It still needs to dry, but it looks much better. And keep adding sand, and I'll post a picture of the finished pottery when it's all done. Thank you for watching.